In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Soul Mask, a new upcoming survival sandbox game with a huge focus on tribal survival, featuring an intricate tribe system that separates the game from other titles in the same genre. In Soul Mask, you'll control members of a tribe, catering to each of their needs, jumping between them as necessary, adding variety and depth to a familiar formula. Before we get into the video itself, though, big shout out to Campfire Studio and Kulan Games for sponsoring this video. If you guys like what you see and you plan on picking up the game, make sure you use the link below to support the channel. Soul Mask is a tribal survival sandbox game with multiplayer servers of up to 70 people, blending lively tribesman gameplay, unique mask abilities, and authentic combat into the traditional survival genre. Soul Mask is being developed by Campfire Studio and published by Kulan Games. The game goes into early access on Steam on June 18th, but there is an open beta until May 15th that allows you to try the game for free, so if you want to play it before you decide whether you want to purchase or not, that's a good idea to get into. And you will also get an exclusive mask for playing the open beta as well, so if you want that, then definitely make sure you do that. In this fantasy game, set in a world where ancient, primitive, and sci-fi civilizations merge, you begin your journey narrowly escaping a deadly sacrificial ritual. You find an ancient mystical mask upon escaping, holding potent knowledge, changing the world you knew. Armed with this mask, you navigate the brutal elements of nature, gather followers, and establish your own tribe. As you explore diverse environments, you unravel the mysteries of the mask and its origins. As you progress further into the game, you'll feel the setting change as you begin to move from ancient civilization to a primitive one and eventually a sci-fi civilization. Soul Mask, at its core, features tons of complex RPG systems that will take time to learn, as well as survival aspects that you can discover as you play the game. You get the basic stats like a health bar and a stamina bar on the bottom of your screen, and in the middle you have your survival stats showing your mask energy, morale, weight, satiety, and hydration. As you explore the world, you can set up campfire bases to rest and get your morale up, as well as find various barbarian camps to fight and recruit people into your tribe. Throughout the map, you can find different tribe encampments and their tribe leaders to gain special rewards in order to fight the big bosses of the game, located at the Inca-like pyramids in each of the 5 biomes. The goal of Soul Mask is to fully explore the world, advancing from primitive weapons to eventually reach the Steel Age, defeating bosses and exploring the world to do so. But you can still find a lot of entertainment within the build system in the game for creating your base, and on top of that you have various build customization options that you can tinker with to make the strongest tribe. To start, let's go over the masks and tribes. In Soul Mask, you start off with a choice of 3 different masks, with the remaining 7 to be unlocked through exploration within the game. Each mask has a different focus, with passive abilities acquired throughout the game and active mimicry abilities that will almost act like a class ability for your character. For example, in the demo, you could choose the Rich Mask, which is a hunter-like playstyle that has passive skills boosting your bow and arrow capabilities and giving you hunter perception, not unlike Geralt's Witcher senses that can be used to find and hunt animals. A more assassin-like playstyle would be the Shadow Walker Mask, which gets you the mimicry skill to go invisible, which can be used out of combat to get stealth kills or even in combat to instantly disengage from a fight. There are a ton of other masks to choose from, such as one focused on bows and projectiles, one giving heavy defense crystal armor, or one completely reflecting all damage for a period of time. There's a lot of build potential when you pair this with how the tribe system works and the various character stats of every single tribe member. To get tribe members, you upgrade your mask with a control module found in the first couple of basic quests and bring a barbarian's HP down to just below 10% to sync your consciousness with theirs. Once they're in your tribe, you can make them do your work, deploy them in battle, or even control them with the full capabilities of the character you made. Every single tribe member will have their own random characteristics, including stat allocations, skills, talents, and proficiencies. In this sense, there's not really any main character since you can control anyone in your tribe and get a full character. They all have random allocations to the 5 stat distributions: perception, physique, strength, endurance, and agility. Perception, strength, and agility mainly determine damage with the 8 weapons of the game, namely with spears, swords, shields, bows, dual swords, gauntlets, greatswords, and hammers. Physique will give more resilience and HP, and endurance will give more stamina and stamina recovery. Innate talents determine what kind of person the tribesman is, whether they are a warrior, hunter, craftsman, or even somewhat quirky like a lazy alcoholic. My best character was a spear and shield user who was stubborn and obsessed with guarding, and thus couldn't really use any other weapon effectively. However, she was raised in a company of guards, making her great with spear and shields, and she is a battle-tested warrior that takes 50% less damage when fighting as a companion. She also has a bunch of broken skills that I got by chance, which made her an absolute monster, like drinking blood spilled from enemies to regain HP, being an expert at skull destruction, getting up to 5 stacks of extra crit movement speed from the thrill of slaughtering enemies, and her bloodthirsty tendencies, which can make her deal massive extra damage in exchange for less defense. Another character I had, which I used for one of the boss fights, was an expert hunter, too brutish to efficiently craft materials, but in exchange was also a battle-hardened expert with unique hunter-exclusive abilities that he could use. He also had purple talents, which are more neutral, such as liking some mild cold and enjoying snowy weather. Characters can also have negative traits which make them quirky, such as people who suck at crafting, get moody when they wake up, or are obsessed with fighting only with fists, and many more. All of these traits go hand in hand in making the build for your character, as choosing the right weapons and playstyles will only make your damage higher, but also level the proficiencies for weapons faster based on those innate talents. Moving on to proficiencies, these are pretty straightforward. You get better at production by frequently mining, weaving, harvesting, etc., and can get bonuses every 30 levels to increase your speed, output, and more. For weapons, every 30 proficiency levels you unlock a random mastery skill which can be used in combat for an extra edge. There are around 67 different mastery skills, so even if some skills feel a bit lackluster, you get many other chances for better skills. So all in all, in terms of build potential, there's quite a lot when you bunch together the unique mask abilities with randomly generated innate talents, stat distributions, proficiency, and skills. Later on, you can even get into modding weapons and armor with special imbued characteristics once you advance a bit technologically. The survival part of Soul Mask is kind of like Rust in that you can do a lot of building and crafting within an open world environment and need to supply your character with basic needs like water and food. You find various resources on the map to start your journey, mainly through mining, harvesting, and logging. Once you make that first campfire, there is a ton of possibilities and rabbit holes to go down in order to acquire useful items and belongings. The crux of this system is the knowledge and technology tree, where you can learn how to craft various workbenches, items, weapons, armor, and more. It also comes with a very useful formula search tool to let you go into these rabbit holes more easily. For example, if you want to mount, you search for something like a saddle in the tree. You find the saddle crafted with leather rope and other materials, and you go out to get them using various other workbenches and basic foraging materials. There were also many other things I wasn't able to get, such as taming monkeys to get fruits for you, setting up beehives for honey, adopting a parrot, or brewing potions. There's definitely a ton to unpack in Soul Mask, and when I first began this game, if I'm honest, the lack of any in-depth tutorial really put me off because of how complex everything seemed to be. However, once I broke through the initial phase of dying a million times and sort of learning the mechanics and defeating the first raid boss, Soul Mask really opened up, and I went down some of those rabbit holes I mentioned before and recruited a bunch of tribe members to speed up the process of gathering, crafting, and reaching new advancements. Performance-wise, I ran into some frame drops throughout the game, but no crashes or bugs. At the absolute highest settings on 1440p, I had around 100 FPS using a GeForce RTX 3090 GPU, a Ryzen 9 5950X CPU, and 32GB of RAM. On medium settings, the jumps up to about 150 FPS, and on the lowest setting, 200. However, the low settings had some bugs that glitch on the screen, so I wouldn't recommend using this. In terms of audio for Soul Mask, the soundtrack is suitably relaxing and tribe-esque, fitting the overall mood of a survival game. For sound effects, nothing stood out in particular, but nothing offended either. Final thoughts. Soul Mask is unique in many ways within the survival genre itself, with an interesting theme of masks and an Incan-like setting paired with in-depth tribal gameplay and customization. The variety of biomes, progression in your civilization, and the multiplayer aspect on top of that make for a fleshed-out survival experience in Soul Mask. There's obviously still some room for improvement in terms of the combat and the overall flow of it with the animations, but these are issues that can be fixed down the line once in early access. As mentioned earlier, Soul Mask goes into early access on PC via Steam on June 18th, but there is an open beta running through May 15th for those who want to check it out, and you do get an exclusive mask for doing so. So if you like the look of the game, or maybe you have some friends you want to play with, if you enjoyed something like Enshrouded, definitely consider checking this one out. And if you do, be sure to use the link below to support the channel. I also want to know what you guys think of Soul Mask. Is it too many survival games, or do you like the fact that this one is a little bit different in the sense that you're making a tribe survive and you can play any of those tribes? It's kind of got some sort of like Sims element to it. Let me know what you think in the comments below.